And good morning, everybody. Welcome. Hot Takes, Goodman and Hurdle. How are you, Bruce?
I'm good, Eric. How are you, my friend? Everything good?
I am good. Good seeing you yesterday at the short press conference, maybe 12 minutes, I would say. Pat Surtain and also Mike McGlinchey. Does that sound about right to you? 12 minutes?
Yeah. I mean, we got a couple of pearls of wisdom. Really nothing out of the ordinary, but it's good to get a start, right? You got to start somewhere, and that was a good start. Off we go.
Hey, I want to tell you about the Sportsbook Bar and Grill. Great place to go if you love to watch sports, if you want great food. I think the menu is so good. I do takeout there all the time. That's how amazing I think it is. But when it comes to watching sports and great food in front of you, no one does it better than the Sportsbook Bar and Grill in the DTC in Highlands Ranch. Also coming soon to Parker later on this fall. Appetizers are amazing. Brussels sprouts. I know it seems like, ooh, who wants to eat vegetables? The way they make them, they're beyond addicting. The burgers are amazing, outstanding wings, about too many sauces to count. And they are more than just the NFL, Major League Baseball, hockey, and basketball. They are big on European soccer, rugby, UFC as well. Go check them out. See why it's my favorite sports bar by far, right around the corner from my house in Highlands Ranch. Going to be meeting a buddy there on Saturday. I don't even know if there are any games are going on, but it doesn't matter because it's just a great place to meet up with your buddies. Sportsbook Bar and Grill, DTC, Highlands Ranch. And, of course, you can find them in Parker coming soon. Time now for The Lead.
The Lead is presented by Sasquatch Casino, a family-owned casino that treats you like family.
Acclimation practices over the next 2 days. Broncos will be on the field as training camp officially begins on the field on Friday. You think we're going to learn anything for the acclimation practices?
No, not really. I don't know. I think it starts happening really in the late in the first week, early in the second week of training camp. If you're looking for things, they start to become a little bit more evident. I can't imagine that this group isn't in camp, ready to go, isn't, ready to hit the ground running. They would be foolish to be anything otherwise. So we'll just wait and see, hope that no one gets injured, hope that there are no soft tissue injuries, things of that. It's very typical training camp kind of fare. But it'll be interesting. And the configuration will be interesting. The 800 fans will be interesting. The building, it's only been a month since I was last there. Yeah. My gosh, the building, the new training facility and administrative headquarters is stunning in the growth. So there's a lot of balls in the air, but the main thing are going to be boots on the ground, team on the field, and it'll be fun to watch as this team progresses towards a season that there's a lot of pretty high expectations.
Well, apparently some guy walked into, the media session yesterday thinking, I should probably ask the first question to Mike McGlinchey. So that idiot was me asking the question. If I said to him, do you feel like you are a championship caliber team? Because he played for San Francisco. He knows what a championship team feels like. The 49ers went to the Super Bowl when he was there. And he looked at me and he chuckled out loud and said, we haven't even practiced yet. Now, politically correct answer, for sure. With that, do you think the Broncos have the pieces and the talent to be a championship caliber team, even though Mike kind of dodged the question, and as a veteran, he made the smart move?
I thought he ended up giving you a decent answer, though, to a good question and one that was well-placed. Those are the types of questions I think that can be asked with a straight face. Mm-hmm. I really feel that way. Caliber is the key word that you use there. Is it a championship caliber team? I think there's some wiggle room when you use the term caliber. I do think that they are we said it yesterday. I think that there is a championship window opening for the Broncos. I don't know how much it's opened. I don't know if it's a crack. I don't know if it's opening as we move along, and maybe it gets wider as the season goes. But yes, I would say that they are at the very start of being potentially a championship caliber team. But it remains to be seen. And I would rather be that than not even know whether or not they're a playoff team, right? So,
Right.
yeah. So from that standpoint, I feel pretty good about where things have progressed. Look at where we view the Broncos a year later at the similar time from a year ago. I mean, it's astronomical right now, right? You've got your quarterback, you know who it is. You have confidence that the ceiling for him is still tremendously high, and there's so much room for growth. You feel like the offense is going to be better. How much better we'll talk about as the show moves on. Defensively, they can be a better team. They're starting with great health. All of those things right now, as we sit here at the end of July, are all very encouraging. Let's see where we are at the start of September and into September and the beginning of October, when the Broncos are playing arguably the toughest part of their schedule.
I think there are a lot of people out there, including me and including you, who are bullish on the Broncos.
Mm-hmm.
I think that Bo Nix is going to take a step.
Yeah.
I think that this defense is going to be better, specifically with the additions of Hufanga and Evan Ingram and Dre Greenlaw. J.K. Dobbins is an excellent addition as well. You know,
Ja'Day Barron, you know, guys like that, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. So with that, they have 14 guys of their top 15 last year on defense who are returning most snaps played, maybe the best offensive line in football. But I want to throw some cold water on there, because I think the beauty of having a sports discussion is you could probably make an argument for the other side, okay, on why they won't be better. Maybe they'll even be worse. So let me just throw this one at you, and I'm curious to know how this can be explained by a reasonable person like you. The Broncos did not beat a team with a winning record last season.
Yeah.
If you exclude the season finale against the Chiefs, in which they didn't play their starters, they were winless against teams with winning records. They were 0-7. On the flip side, they won a single game against a winning team. So let me rephrase that. They were 1-7. That win was against Tampa.
Right.
They were 8-0 against teams with losing records. So what makes you think the Broncos are going to be better when the numbers suggest that they made the playoffs by beating bad teams under 500? And oh, by the way, 5 of those games, twice against the Raiders, by the way, okay, 5 of those games were against teams that lost 12 games or more. Why in the world would we honestly believe this team is going to take a step forward when they couldn't beat a winning team, with the exception of Tampa? And that was early on in the season. And then late in the season, lost to Cincinnati. A lot was on the line there. Lost to the Chargers twice, so on and so forth.
First, I start with what I have always maintained, and I believe this in my heart. The difference between the best and the worst in the National Football League is measured in a very short measurement. I don't want to get into the on any given Sunday, but there's some truth to that. It's hard to win in the NFL.
Let's not go down that road. The bottom line is,
well, they were
8-0 against teams that couldn't win, and they were 1 against 7.
I don't care.
It's not a one-off.
It doesn't make any difference. I'm giving you my answer. I mean, if you don't like my answer, feel free to go ahead and push back at it. That's your prerogative. I think the most important thing is establishing a winning culture, a culture where there is expectancy to be able to go out and play your best. And if you do that, that you can win a football game. The Broncos, should make no apologies for going 10-7 a year ago.
No.
Should make no apologies at all. And I think that there is a very realistic expectation that they are a better football team.
I agree.
Than they were at the end of last season. At the end of last season, this team has improved. It has improved in pieces of the puzzle. It has improved in continuity. It has improved in experience. So I don't see why, even if you make the argument, and the argument is correct, by the way, that they're playing a tougher schedule. Absolutely. I buy that. But I think that this is a team probably better suited to do better with a tougher schedule because of their experience, because of games that they won, because of their continuity and the third year of Sean Payton and the second year of Bo Nix. Those are all things that when you put them together in the gumbo, to use one of your terms, you come away with a pretty pleasing taste. Now, you got to go out and do it. No question about it. You got to go out and do it. But I think that they are in a position to do so. That's just where I feel. So, I'm not going to go crazy on this thing. I mean, bullish is the right word to use how I feel about the Broncos, but I've got them right around 11. That's one game more than last year. Now, you can make the argument that it's one game more next year against a tougher schedule. So maybe I'm giving them maybe a little too much credit, but that's kind of where I sit right now. But a lot of things can change between now and the beginning of the season.
I mean, we could talk about any given Sunday. I'm with you. But every given Sunday isn't 17 weeks. There could be one-offs here and there.
Yeah.
They were 1-7 against teams that were good. And then they got to the playoffs and got their doors blown off.
Mm-hmm.
I am like you. I believe this team is a really good football team. I do. But I think the devil's advocate argument is not only fair, I think it is a strong argument. Who'd you beat? I understand you can only play who's on your schedule. It's not like you played 3 games. You can only play the team that's on your schedule. They played 17 games. And there's a pretty large fault line between playing good teams and playing bad teams. And that was apparent that they could not be good teams last year.
Well, they were they make a kick. They beat Kansas City on
They lost. They lost.
Eric.
You are an athlete at the end of the day. So are we talking about moral victories here?
No,
so was that a moral victory?
And of course you're going to take it to the extreme. It's not about moral victories. It's about what you did in the moment. You lost. In the moment, you lost. In the moment, you lost. You are judged by wins and losses, not how you played the entire game. All that matters. Okay, Eric, if you are judged by wins and losses, they were 10-7. So I'll put it back on you.
Yep.
They were 10-7. So that's the judgment that I'll go with.
Okay. And I think
here's the bottom line. Anybody that looks at the Broncos and doesn't see a quantum leap of improvement is either blind or just being an idiot for the sake of doing it. Because frankly, the Broncos took such a step forward last year that they're being considered a fringe Super Bowl team.
Who's considering them? Have they actually looked at the quarterbacks that this great defense played last year?
I don't know. ESPN just ranked them 6th with their roster. Last year, the Broncos were like 31 with their roster. So
Bruce,
it's all over the place.
Bruce, when did you start paying attention to what other people say? Because you're your own man, and I've known you for a long time. You don't give a shit what other people have to say. You believe what you have to say. And if we're going to talk, listen, again, I'm playing devil's advocate on all of this.
Of course
I am on your side on this. But it is fair to say, look at the crap carousel of quarterbacks the Broncos beat last year. It is one after the next. And then when they played good ones, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes.
Well, they didn't do badly against Mahomes. I mean, the one game they played, Bo Nix outplayed Patrick Mahomes.
I understand that.
I mean, I just think it's not black and white. There's always nuance. I'm a nuanced guy. You're a black and white guy. I appreciate
Well,
that.
no. It's not necessarily that I'm a black and white guy. I'm looking at their body of work. You are absolutely right, and it's a fair argument back to me, Eric. They won 10 games, fine, and my counter would be, look at who they beat. Now let's see who they lost to. That is consistent. It's not like they played, I don't know, 7 games against winning teams and they were 2-5. Well, at least they won 2. At least they won 2, right? Mm-hmm. And then you look at the teams that are losing. They mop the floor with teams that they should. Here, they beat the teams they should have beaten, and they lost to just about every team that was better than them. And when you go to the playoffs, you play teams that are usually better than you, or at the very least, you're equal. I believe the Broncos are going to be better, but I think there should be some caution before we anoint them a championship caliber team, because it's important to look at all of it, not just they won 10 games. See, they won 10 games. Or it's not so fair to look at it and say, well, they can't beat winning teams. That's not fair either. But both are still facts. Both are still facts. And the saying goes, you have the right to your own opinion, but you don't have the right to your own facts. 1-7 against teams that made the playoffs. And then they got to the playoffs, and then they saw what happened. Moving right along. First time since 2014, Broncos have the same quarterback, head coach combo in consecutive years. So how big of a leap should Knicks take? Offensive line, totally back. Improvements with Ingram, running back additions, Harvey and Dobbins. And all of his wide receivers are back as well. If there's a guy in the NFL who should feel comfortable going into this season from last season, if anybody, it should be Knicks. And, oh, by the way, yes, he has Peyton back as well. What kind of leap do you think he will make?
Leap is probably, I don't know about a leap. I think that if you are making the type of improvement on a schedule that he did a year ago, I think you'd be fortunate, because I think he went from 0 to 60 pretty damn quickly.
Right.
He got through those first 3 weeks of the season, and after that, he was pretty dang consistent. So if
can I add on to that?
Sure.
Andy played all right with a broken back.
Yeah, he did down the season stretch. You're absolutely right.
Right.
So so it is reasonable. Look, this isn't taking into account the maniacal preparation that defensive coordinators around the league make in preparation. Remember, these guys have nothing else to do but to sit and conjure all year long, 365 days of the year. There will be a much different defensive approach taken to Bo Nix and the Broncos than maybe was taken last year when he was painting on a clean canvas, right? On a blank canvas. There is knowledge now about Bo Nix, but you move the offense forward. How much more of the offense? Does he have the confidence now to run an offense that seems like, we have to wait and see, seems like it's second nature to him? How much of that offense is second nature? How much of it can you execute properly and with confidence? If you can do that, with the way that the Broncos ended up being a top 10 scoring offense last year, top 10 scoring offense in the NFL. This is remarkable news.
Yep.
And, but if you continue to move the meter there, and even if the improvement is exponential as you move along, at the end, in the middle of the season, those exponential improvements are going to create a nice couple of big steps forward for the Broncos. I mean, if they are in a position to score 28 points a game, which would be 3 points more than last year.
Yep.
If they are in a position where they're a top 5 scoring offense.
Yep.
you're going to have a chance to win a lot of football games, especially with a defense that probably doesn't give up much over 16 points a game or whatever it is, whatever the number ends up being. We'll have to wait and see.
Okay, so just for fun, again, I'm going to go back to what I said. Numbers can be inflated depending on who you play.
Sure.
Is that fair? Seattle winning record last year. Broncos scored 20. Pittsburgh winning record last year. They scored 6. Chargers, they scored 16. Against Baltimore, they scored 10. Against Kansas City, they scored 14. And then at the end of the season, they played Cincinnati, arguably the worst defense in the league, and they lost in overtime, scoring 24 points. So they might be a top 10 scoring offense, and I'm with you on that because that's what the numbers say when you add it all up. But how did they do against the good teams? If they averaged maybe 19 points a game, that would have been a lot.
To me, it all gets back.
But those are facts. Those are, again, we can argue opinion. We can't argue facts. You're scoring 6, 14, 10 against the teams that are good. And then you are playing teams that are not very good. Let's just go. Oh, by the way, they did score 26 against Tampa. Against the Jets, good defense, they scored 10. Vegas.
It was a monsoon. I mean, come on, Eric.
Hold on.
Eric. Okay, fine.
But wait a minute.
You've got your facts. I will. You've got your facts, and your facts.
But hold on. But let me just finish this thought. Let me finish this thought.
Right.
Here's a stretch of games that they won. Vegas, 34 points. New Orleans, 33. Carolina, 28. Atlanta, 38. Vegas again, 29. Cleveland, 41. Indy, 31. Against the Chiefs that didn't play any of their starters in the finale, they scored 38. So before we jump to this is a top 10 offense, look at who they played. You add it all together, and that's how you come up with your number.
I never, ever said it was a top 10 offense. I said it was a top 10 scoring.
Fine. Well, listen, I'd rather have the scoring offense.
This offense was so much better. Eric, you and I don't have a basis on this one. We don't have a commonality on this one. You're quoting games. 2 of those games happened in Bo Nix's first 3 weeks playing. That this offense became much more capable regardless of who they were playing. By the way, they were playing Atlanta when Atlanta was 6-3. You look at Atlanta at the end of the season, but at the time they were playing them, Atlanta was a fairly good football team leading a division. So I would just say in terms of complete, there is nuance here. And the fact of the matter is, I don't care who they were playing, they were still executing. They were still making plays. They were staying ahead of the sticks. They were having success. And all of that success funnels into who you are as you move forward. The success they had last year, I don't think they parcel out who they were playing. I just think that they take from their success of a year ago and build on it this year. I'm not disagreeing with you. The numbers are the numbers in the games that they played and who they played against. I give you that. There is no pushback on those facts. It's what the facts mean that I think that there are different interpretations. I will maintain that being 10-7 and getting to the playoffs, even getting your asses kicked in the playoffs, is a lot more valuable than going 8-9, but playing all the good teams on your roster really hard. I just think it's better for a football team to have had success. And I think that it's something that you can build upon much better than a lack of success, however you define that. That's where I'm at.
Coming up after the break, ESPN says the Broncos have the 6th most talented roster in the NFL. We're going to go down this road next. What do you think, Bruce?
Hey, they were 31 last year.
Let's go down that road after the break.
Spice up your next night out at Nola Jane and Lodo. Authentic Cajun cuisine like andouille sausage gumbo with dirty rice, crawfish etouffee, as well as 6 different po' boys like soft-shell crab and shrimp. Come in before or after a game at Ball Arena. Host a party or party on their rooftop deck overlooking Market Street during happy hour from 11 a.m. to 5. Plus, Nola Jane caters, delivers, and the kitchen is open late night. Make Nola Jane your new favorite spot to eat, drink, and party like it's Mardi Gras.
Sasquatch and Wildcard Casinos in Blackhawk have another incredible promotion. They'll be giving away a new Sea-Doo, 4-wheeler, or the cash award from the Big Wheel Spin, plus $7,500 in cash. The grand prize drawing is the weekend of August 16th, and get finalist entries every 45 minutes from 10 a.m. to midnight during their daily cash drawing, with a locked-up jackpot of $100 or more. Sasquatch and Wildcard Casinos. Loose slots, great promotions, great food, and a family-owned casino that treats you like family.
Everyone has their favorite sports bar. Mine, the Sportsbook Bar and Grill in Highlands Ranch in the DTC. Both locations are everything a sports bar should be. An upscale menu with 12 different burgers, outstanding wings, and my favorite, the Philly cheesesteak egg rolls. They've got every game on the NFL Sunday Ticket, MLB Extra Innings, NHL Center Ice, NBA League Pass, plus soccer, rugby, and UFC. Sportsbook is a hangout bar or great for private parties. The Sportsbook Bar and Grill in Highlands Ranch, the DTC, and coming soon to Parker. They are the sports bar.
Ever wondered where city and county fleet vehicles go when they retire? Now's your chance to find out and score big. Imagine driving away with a great deal on a reliable vehicle. For over 45 years, Roller Auction has been the trusted source for government fleet vehicles and equipment. Trucks, SUVs, sedans, and more, all selling to the highest bidder. Don't miss out. Visit roller.bid/hot takes to get auction updates today. Your next vehicle could be just a click away.
Everyone has their favorite barbecue spot. Mine, Smokin' Dave's Barbecue and Brew. My favorites, slowly smoked ribs, smoked corned beef Reuben, smoked meatloaf with a portobello balsamic cream sauce. And don't forget about Smokin' Dave's 16-hour smoked brisket and pork with one of their 4 homemade barbecue sauces. Great sides, you bet. Barbecue beans made with pork and brisket and their southern corn bake. Man, you got to try it. Plus, they have amazing non-barbecue entrees on the menu. Go where I go, Smokin' Dave's Barbecue and Brew in North Denver.
Ferguson's Heating and Cooling is the best in Denver, and their customers agree. Ferguson's has 165 5-star Google reviews, and here's one from Betsy. Highly professional, prompt, and honest. I switched to Ferguson's when I became aware my former company was trying to sell me a whole new system I didn't need. Ferguson's is an honest, working, family-owned business that'll give you a fair price, the highest quality parts and equipment, and they always show up on time. You can trust the Ferguson family like you trust your own family. Go to fergusonsheatingandcooling.com.
And welcome back. Hot Takes Goodman and Hurdle. You just saw about Ferguson's Heating and Cooling. I want to tell you a little bit more about them. I really believe in what they do, what Cody Ferguson and his sons do with Ferguson's Heating and Cooling. He and I had a long conversation about how he does business. A lot of companies like HVAC companies and garage door companies, their sales guys are in some ways the guys that, fix your garage door, fix your furnace, your HVAC unit. They fix it. They're the sales guy as well. They want to sell you something. They really don't have that great of an interest in fixing it because they don't make enough money on that sales call. What Cody said to me was, if we have to fix it, I'll take the loss. I don't have a problem doing that at all. And you don't hear that a lot in business because business is about money. And for him, it's about taking care of his customers. That is the reason that you should go with them. Because like when you get your car fixed and, you open up the hood of your car and the mechanic tells you something. Right. The reason I took it to the mechanic is because I don't know. I kind of have to take them at their word. With Ferguson's Heating and Cooling, the deal is you are working with a company that is honest. You're going to get a fair shake, and they're not going to try and put one over on you. Ferguson'sHeatingandCooling.com, Ferguson'sHeatingandCooling.com. Time now for What's Trending.
What's Trending is presented by Ferguson's Heating and Cooling. Your family should trust the Ferguson family for all your heating and cooling needs, and you'll see why they have over 165 5-star Google reviews. Make an appointment today at Ferguson'sHeatingandCooling.com.
I was trying to think of a good parallel about talking about how the Broncos were 1-7 against winning teams last year. and 8-0 against teams that did not have winning records. And in 5 of those games, those teams lost 12 or more games. When you watch a college football game, you see this stat all the time, which is, yes, the team is, I don't know, let's call it they are 7-2. And then you see the graphic come up. Well, this coach is only 2-12 against teams in the top 25. Does that resonate with you at all? Because really, that's kind of the same thing. You're playing a top 25 team in theory in the NFL when you play a playoff team. When you play a non-playoff team, it's a win, and every win's a good win, and you can't control what's on your schedule. But I think when that graphic pops up, that does kind of catch my eye. And I think that was the point that I was making.
It doesn't resonate with me that as much because the difference between the haves and the have-nots in college football is so excessive and is so ridiculous. I don't think that you rarely go into a game in the NFL saying this team will win a game. It happens. It does. I mean, but it's not like, I mean, if Alabama's playing Robert Morris, I think we know how that's going to end up. I mean, just a question of how much they win by.
Right.
But your point is, I mean, if you're going to draw a parallel, okay. I mean, I get it. It's not apples to apples, but there's something there. Yeah.
Okay. ESPN ranked the Broncos having the 6th best roster in the NFL, which is mind-boggling considering where they had been a couple of years ago. So with that, do we really – now, first of all, do you believe they have the 6th best roster in the league?
I don't – I mean, without doing a deep dive, that would be hard for me to believe. Yes.
Okay. Now, when I look at each player individually or I look at units like the offensive line, that's a really solid unit that's been together pretty much for 2 consecutive years. When you look at their wide receiver core outside of Cortland Sutton, it's a bunch of guys who we think can be pretty good, but we don't know. That room should have a sign on its door that doesn't say wide receiver room. It should say potential room. Fair?
Fair.
Okay.
I think it's interesting that ESPN collectively ranked them 6th when, and you can fact check me on this, I think they ranked the quarterback 16 or 17.
Right.
I think they ranked the receiver room like 23 or 24. I'm just trying to figure out the math and how you get to 6 with those 2 areas alone. But whatever. It's good fodder for summertime sports talk, and it gets you to thinking. I think that the Broncos, I will say this, I think the Broncos are very satisfied with the roster that they have and the potential that roster has. I think it has been, to a large degree, fit to Sean Payton's specifications, and that's all you can ask if you're a head coach. Give me the guys that we can work with. Give me good units. Give me a quarterback, and we'll go from there. So is it a great fit for Sean Payton? Yeah. In that sense, is it a top 6, a top 10 roster? Maybe. I mean, this is about 3 years in. It's about as close to hand-picked as you can get, right?
Yep. Now, I'm going to spin this now positively.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I don't know if the Broncos have the 6th best roster in the league. What I do know is they are greatly improved from when Sean Payton took over. We talk about Sean Payton as being a brilliant offensive mind, outstanding play caller, really good head coach, great culture builder. With that, do we not give him enough credit as the guy who buys the groceries? Whether you believe that the Broncos are the 6th best roster in the league is not, you can debate that all day. And you could debate what I'm about to say as well all day. But I'll just use ESPN's rankings. The Broncos are 6th. The Saints are 32nd. 5 years ago, Sean Payton was the head coach of the New Orleans Saints. Seems to be a correlation to me that the team he's with has moved up the charts, and the team he left is now dead last. And while Mickey Loomis was the GM of that team, don't think for a minute Sean Payton didn't have a hand, or maybe a heavy hand, in building that roster. And when I say heavy hand, we know what his personality is like, but his results are proven.
It's been a remarkable climb, especially when you juxtapose it to where New Orleans is now, no question about it. But that's their issues. The Broncos, the difference between this roster and this football team and the expectations of this football team compared to when he came in 3 years ago are literally night and day. Now,
Right.
I don't know how many games he's going to win this year. It remains to be seen. I don't know. But I know where they think they are, and I know where most of us think they are. And we'll just have to wait and see how the whole thing plays out. But to give it less than a quantum leap would be pretty silly, because I think that that's what Sean Payton has done. He's taken a quantum leap, and you can make an argument, Eric. You can make an argument that he has done it through some decisions of their own with a very difficult financial situation. Yes, they've had some kicks in the salary cap that have helped them out, but they're still paying off Russell Wilson.
Right. And that adds another layer to it on how impressive all of this is. So, want to move to NFL.com had an article called NFL Teams Facing the Most Pressure This Upcoming Season. In order, Steelers, Bengals, Ravens, and Bills are tied, and the Cowboys. How much pressure do you think is on the Broncos this year? Now, I understand all teams feel pressure. I get that. All teams feel pressure to win, but some more than others because of the expectations. The expectations for the Broncos are to make the playoffs again and win a game. Now, that's the outside expectation. Inside that building, I get it. It's to win a Super Bowl. But sometimes you can't see the forest when you're too close to the trees. It's an old cliche, but it's a very accurate cliche. Last year, did anybody really expect the Broncos to make the playoffs? The expectations externally were not high. Internally, obviously, they are high. But with that, how much pressure do you think is on this organization to make a serious run in the playoffs compared to the Bengals, the Ravens, the Bills, and the Cowboys?
Well, I mean, Bills, Ravens, Cowboys somewhat unfairly, just because they're the Cowboys, America's team, all of that crap.
Correct.
They're
in their
always
own
going to
category.
be expectations. Now the Broncos are, the Broncos are in a position where I think that they're ahead of schedule. I think you and I both agree with that they're ahead of schedule, even moving into Sean Payton's third year. I think that there's plenty of pressure on Sean Payton and that roster internally. Externally, I feel like the Broncos are just a good story. I think that all of a sudden people are recognizing Bo Nix. Patrick Surtain is the reigning NFL Defensive Player of the Year. They have an offensive line that is generally considered one of the three best in the National Football League, if not the best. So I think that there's a lot of curiosity about the Broncos, who they themselves are kind of a legacy team. You've been to 8 Super Bowls, for goodness sake. So obviously you've got that. But I don't think that there's probably as much pressure on the Broncos as there would be with the Bills. My goodness, you're in the middle of Josh Allen's, heyday right now, and you haven't been able to get there. Lamar Jackson is a multiple MVP, and you haven't been able to get there. That's real pressure in places like Baltimore and Buffalo. And the irony, Eric, is the Broncos would love to have that kind of pressure of expectations. Sure. And I think within the next year or so, they will have that.
Which of these two quarterbacks has the most pressure to win, Allen or Jackson?
Ugh. I mean,
to me, it's an easy choice.
Are you taking Josh Allen?
Absolutely.
Because he's the reigning Super Bowler? I would go with the guy that has been a two-time MVP, and I think it's probably Lamar Jackson.
I think it's absolutely Lamar Jackson. Here's the reason why. Josh Allen has played well consistently in the playoffs. Lamar Jackson has not.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now they have Derrick Henry. I mean, please. Yeah. And their defense is considered just as good, if not better, than the Broncos defense. And by the way, let's not totally discount something either. Mm-hmm. We are sitting here in the Denver bubble talking about how great this Broncos defense is. Chargers defense is amazingly good. The Chiefs defense is expected to be excellent. But for some reason, we are just discounting them. Do you know that last year, all you have to do is look at the numbers, and I understand it's truly hard to judge a defense based on points given up. Because if your offense keeps turning the ball over inside your 10-yard line, you're probably going to give up points, and that's going to be on your defensive ledger for giving up points per game. But just on its surface, 3 of the top 4 teams in terms of defense and points given up per game, in no particular order, 3 of those 4 teams, the Broncos, the Chiefs, and the Chargers. All of them are returning really good defenses.
And you bring up something or other that I need to just pause and give flowers to and have the proper reverence. When we talk about the Bills and the Ravens, and the fact that neither one of them have even been there yet. Yeah. And we know how good those quarterbacks are. 3 MVPs between them. Give credit where it's due. The Chiefs have been the fly in the ointment. We haven't realized the potential and the promise of the Bills or the Ravens because the Kansas City Chiefs keep doing their job. And you know what? When you got to be really careful about being just kind of cavalier and expectant about dethroning the king, especially with Patrick Mahomes still very much in the prime of his career and his ability. Be careful about that.
With the exception of one season with Joe Burrow, and I'm going to turn this guy's name into a verb. Patrick Mahomes is Michael Jordaning the AFC. Karl Malone couldn't win a championship. Neither could Charles Barkley. Neither could Magic Johnson win another one. Neither could Clyde Drexler.
Yeah.
I mean, when you were playing in the era of Michael Jordan, when he wasn't playing baseball and before they finally beat the Detroit Pistons, he mopped the floor, never even went to a 7th game against all of these Hall of Famers. And now you have 2 ridiculously good and talented quarterbacks who can't get by the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Mahomes is Michael Jordaning them. And here's the irony. In the last 2 years, look what Patrick Mahomes has done statistically compared to when he started his career, and he looks like a mere mortal. But the Chiefs are a better team defensively to offset Mahomes. Look at all the wide receivers that they keep shuffling in and out. They do have Travis Kelce. What's Travis Kelce going to look like this year? I take Brock Bowers over Travis Kelce all day this year, along with some other tight ends as well.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. The other 2 teams in the division have really good defenses as well.
Yeah.
And you know what? It would not surprise me at all if the Raiders turn it around either. Pete Carroll's a great coach.
Yeah.
And he's got the type of team that he wants. at least running the ball for sure. They have Max Crosby. I don't know how much better they are on defense. I still think they're the fourth best team. But for the Broncos, despite everything that I've said throughout the last 40 plus minutes, I do think the Broncos have a chance to be a very good football team. But I also think it's important to put your finger on the pause button and say, how did they get to 10-7 last year? And that is not only a fair argument, it is an accurate argument. When you look at the Broncos defense, who are the quarterbacks that they played? Anthony Richardson and Gardner Minshew and a hobbled, Aaron Rodgers and so on and so
Jameis
forth.
Winston. I mean, right. You're absolutely right. I mean, you can't deny that or rewrite the history, but it's what
They
it
gave up
means.
30 plus points to the Browns
Yeah,
at home.
yeah. It happened.
That's not a top defense to me when one
Wasn't
guy
that night.
torches you, your former teammate, Jerry Jeudy. And please don't tell me it's because Riley Moss was out.
Those things happen. But
Right.
That's an area that you've got to improve at. It's the consistency of the defense in all situations that has to get better. Statistically, it was a great defense a year ago. It wasn't always a great defense in execution. There are different kinds of ways to determine the greatness of a defense. Consistency is the biggest one for me. So, yeah, lots to look forward to. Practice starting today. Off we roll, man. The beginning of a 6-month path that we hope to go down, and maybe even a couple of weeks later. Who knows?
That's going to do it for us. Hot Takes, Goodman and Hurdle. Make the best possible day you can.